Alright guys, Yinlin is finally here in game, and in today's video we're pretty much going to go over her best team comps, her best build, her best weapon, and how many copies you need on her in order for her to work. So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Alright, so when we take a look at Yinlin's forte, let's go ahead and talk about the main skills that you guys should prioritize. So the top three things that you guys should be leveling up is her forte circuit, then her resonance liberation, and then her resonance skill. You don't want to level up her basic attack or intro skill. It's pretty useless. It doesn't really matter. If you just want to have additional damage, then that's all there is to it. But you don't have to level up her basic attack. You mostly want to level up her forte circuit, resonance liberation, and then resonance skill. Now for her inherent skill, pain immersion, it says after using resonance skill magnetic roar, Yinlin's crit rate is increased by 15% for 5 seconds. This is absolutely amazing because whenever she uses her skill, she will get an additional crit rate, 50% crit rate for 5 seconds, and that is really nice. That is going to boost her damage. And then for her last inherent skill, it says the damage of resonance skill lightning execution is increased by 10% when hitting targets marked with Sinner's Mark. And Yinlin's attack is increased by 10% for 4 seconds when this is triggered. So if you guys are thinking about leveling up, not leveling up, but activating her inherent skill, you should definitely activate both inherent skills because that's going to increase her overall damage. So overall, her forte circuit, there's a lot going on here, and she has a thing called judgment points. And the way that you build up these judgment points, you basically do basic attack and heavy attack, and once you have enough judgment points, you're going to hold basic attack and you're pretty much going to do a heavy attack, and then she's going to pretty much enter chameleon cipher, and she's going to inflict a Sinner's Mark on the enemy. And when we take a look at Sinner's Mark, it says normal attack zap screen dance, resonance liberation, thundering wrath, and intro skill roaring storm will apply Sinner's Mark on hit. And the only way that Sinner's Mark can be removed is when Yinlin she exits. So if you no longer use her, if she gets switched off the field, Sinner's Mark will go away. So I'm gonna make sure that when you're using her forte circuit, when you're trying to activate the Sinner's Mark on multiple enemies, you want to make sure that you're doing everything with Yinlin on field before you switch off to another character. And she also has another thing called punishment mark. So punishment mark, it says when a target marked with punishment mark is damaged, judgment strike will fall, dealing electro damage to all targets marked with punishment mark. This can be triggered up to once per second. So her forte circuit is just pretty much allowing her to do a lot. Like she can do enhanced stuff. It's like, think of her as Super Saiyan Yinlin. She's gonna do insane damage, which is really nice, and that's pretty much where her damage is coming from. It's coming from her forte circuit. And then for her resonance liberation, it's pretty simple. Like she's just doing damage, and that's pretty much it. She's just calling thunder and dealing electro damage. That's all. Now when it comes to these stat bonuses, you definitely want to get some crit rate for the stat bonuses. You want to activate these, and you also want to activate the attack percentage. That is very, very good. So make sure that you guys actually activate these stat bonuses, but mostly focus on the resonance skill, forte circuit, resonance liberation, and of course the inherent skill alongside with a deadly focus inherent skill. Now the best part about Yinlin is her outro skill. This is absolutely busted for electro DPS units like Charo, because when we read it, it says the incoming character has their electro damage amplified by 20% and resonance liberation damage amplified by 25% for 14 seconds. That is absolutely insane for Charo. So this outro skill is pretty much what makes Yinlin absolutely perfect for Charo. Now when we talk about weapons, the best weapon for Yinlin is the String Master. This weapon is going to give her some additional crit rate. It's really nice, and when we look at the passive, it's going to give her a huge damage bonus, and it's also going to increase her attack. So this is a very strong weapon for Yinlin. This is her main weapon in slot. So if you guys are trying to figure out which weapon is the best for her, it is the String Master. Now if you don't have the String Master, the second best weapon for Yinlin is Cosmic Ripples. It's going to give her additional attack, it's going to give her energy regeneration, and it's also going to increase her basic attack damage. So this is a very nice weapon for her because she is going to use her basic attack a lot so that she can build up the judgment points. So increasing her basic attack damage will be really nice, and she can really benefit from this weapon because of that energy regeneration and of course the attack percentage. Now, when we talk about 4-star weapons, the augment weapon, this weapon is in the battle pass, and this is also a good option for Yinlin because it is going to increase her crit rate and it's going to increase her attack. So this is a very nice weapon to use on Yinlin. Now, another decent weapon for her would be the Jinzu Keeper. This weapon is also going to increase her attack, which is really good. It's going to increase her HP, and she's not going to really benefit from that. But the fact that you're getting that additional attack increase from this weapon, that is very nice. So this is a decent 4-star weapon for Yinlin. Now, the best echo set for Yinlin is Void Thunder. This is the best set for her because it's going to increase her electro damage. Now, the second best set for Yinlin is the Moonlit Clouds. If you are trying to make your Yinlin a pure support unit, this set will increase her energy regeneration, and it's going to pretty much allow her to increase the team's damage. Like it says, after using outro skill, increases the attack of the next resonator by 22.5% for 15 seconds. So this is going to be very nice for Yinlin because she is a unit that specializes in like the sub DPS category. So Moonlit Clouds, very nice set for Yinlin. Now, of course, the best echo formation is 4-3-3-1-1. For your cost 4 echo, you want to get crit damage or you want to get crit rate. It really depends. If you don't have a lot of crit rate, you want to get crit rate, and if you don't have a lot of crit damage, then you want to get some crit damage. Now, for your cost 3 echoes, you want to get electro damage bonus so that you can boost her overall damage, and then for your cost 1, you want to get attack. So the order is crit rate, crit damage for cost 4, cost 3, electro damage bonus, and then for cost 1, attack percentage. Now, the best substats for Yinlin is crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, and resonant skill damage bonus. And the reason why you want to get resonant skill damage bonus is because you're going to use her resonant skill a lot, because that's how you're going to pretty much activate that additional crit rate if you activated her inherent skill. Plus, you're going to do some more damage when you use her resonant skill. So you want to make sure that you get her resonant skill damage bonus in the substat. You want to get some crit rate, crit damage, and attack percentage. Now, the best team comp for Yinlin is this team right here. You have Kachara, who's going to be your main DPS unit, and you have Verena, who's going to be your buffing healing unit. And of course, Yinlin is going to be the sub DPS unit, who's going to pretty much do some decent damage, and she's going to amplify Kachara's damage because of that electro damage bonus and the Resonance Liberation buff. So this is by far the best team comp for Yinlin. Now, if you don't have Kachara and you have Yinlin, and you're trying to make Yinlin like your main DPS unit, this is also a pretty decent team comp because Tao Chi is going to increase Yinlin's resonance skill. So if you're trying to make Yinlin your main DPS unit, Tao Chi is a good unit to pair up with Yinlin. And of course, you want to use Verena to pretty much increase the overall damage of the team. I highly recommend you guys to go for sub DPS Yinlin. But if you want to go for main DPS, then this is a pretty decent team comp for her. So now we're going to take this team comp and we are going to Tower of Adversity, and we're pretty much going to showcase the potential of this team and see how good Yinlin is. So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and hop right into the showcase. All right, so after that gameplay footage, that was insane. Like, we were able to defeat a level 70 boss, and the damage was absolutely crazy. Now, I will say that boss was absolutely annoying. He kept grabbing me. Really annoying boss overall. But the damage was there. We were doing some insane damage. Cao was going crazy, and Yinlin, her basic attack, her resonant skill, everything was just peak. So that was very, very fun. Now let's go ahead and talk about how many copies you need on her in order for her to work. Now, the good news is Yinlin does not require any copies. She is perfectly fine at S0. But let's go ahead and take a look at her S1. So S1, Resonant Skill, Magnetic Roar, and Lightning Execution deals 70% more damage. So this is actually really nice because you are going to use Yinlin's Resonant Skill a lot. So this is a really nice buff to Yinlin. So S1, very, very good. Now for S2, it says Resonant Skill Electromagnetic Blast recovers an additional 5 judgment points and 5 resonance energy on hit. So you're building up the judgment point stack, and on top of that, you're getting some resonance energy so that you can use her ultimate. So S2 is pretty much like a battery constellation. Is going to pretty much give her a lot of energy so that she can do what she got to do. Now for S3, it says Forte Circuit Judgment Strikes. Damage multiplier is increased by 55%. So she's going to deal a lot more damage with her, Forte Circuit Judgment Strike. And then for S4, when Forte Circuit Judgment Strike hits a target, the attack of all team members is increased by 20% for 12 seconds. So she'll be able to buff the whole team's attack with this constellation. And that's actually pretty dope. And then for S5, Resonance Liberation Thundering Wrath deals 100% extra damage to targets with Forte Circuit Center Mark or Punishment Mark. And then last but not least, for S6, in the first 30 seconds after casting Resonance Liberation Thundering Wrath, when Yinlin's basic attack hits a target, Furious Thunder will be triggered, dealing electro damage equal to 419.59% of Yinlin's attack. Every basic attack hit can trigger Furious Thunder one time, up to 4 times. This is considered resonant skill damage. So S6, Yinlin basically becomes a main DPS unit with her S6. So if you are trying to make, Yinlin a main DPS, S6 is pretty much the way to go, but that's a lot of constellations. That's a lot of copies. So S6 is absolutely crazy. She can become a main DPS unit, and that's pretty good overall. So if you guys were to ask me which, constellation or how many copies you should get on her, I would say, of course, she works perfectly fine with 0 copies, but I will say S1 is really decent because it's going to increase her resonance skill damage, and S2 is also pretty good because it's going to recover a lot of resonance energy, and she's going to build her judgment points a lot faster, which will pretty much help you rotate through your team a lot faster. So S2 and S1 honestly pretty good, and I will say S4 is also good because of that huge attack buff for the whole team. So what I recommend you guys to summon for Yinlin, if you have Cao, she is a huge requirement. Like if you have Cao, you have to summon for it because she is going to boost Cao's potential. So if you have him, 100% go for Yinlin. But if you don't have Cao, I still feel like Yinlin is a unit that you should still go for because she is going to be the unit that is going to pretty much increase the potential of future upcoming electro units. So she is by far one of the best buffing units alongside with Verena in game, and she is absolutely powerful. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys in today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.